Well, to leave the comforts of pretty Pennsylvania and take 5 children ages 6 to 15 to a remote area in Malawi would be a tough obedience for anyone, I think. But to be met early in the missionary journey with a senseless, life-altering accident should have been a crisis of faith. Doug and Barb Miller are here to tell their story, and we're just so thankful that this is furlough.
Yes.
You are going back to Malawi.
Yes.
How long have you been there?
We've been in Malawi since April the 1st, 2000.
2000. And we said how young the children were. I want folks to see the children who are not all here today. You have a lovely current picture. And you named them all with S's. What was behind that? Tell us who we're seeing first.
You're seeing from left to right Susanna, Seth, Sharon, Stephen, and Sarah, not in age order. But a week before we were married, Moira, the Lord prompted me saying that your first child's name is going to be Seth. I thought, wow, Seth was a good Bible character. He had influence on Enosh when folks started to call on the Lord. And God gave us a vision that we should raise our children not just for themselves, but that they could also be part of raising up a godly generation and have an influence on their children. We had Sarah picked out in case we heard wrong.
In case it was a girl.
Exactly. And we picked out Stephen 5 minutes after Barb told me she was expecting our second. The best birthday gift I could have ever received. It was on my birthday, she told me. And so we saw a pattern, Old Testament, New Testament. Seth, Stephen, Sarah, Susanna, Sharon.
Oh, I love it. Okay, everybody's going to be rethinking the whole name thing. But it's lovely to have meaning. Behind the Bible names all had meaning.
Sure.
I think there are going to be some kids growing up and really giving their parents the gears for what they named them. But I love what you've chosen. And this is a really shattering story. Tell us first why you felt compelled to go as a family to Malawi.
We had sensed a call to missions early on.
You actually met in Guatemala.
We met in Guatemala. Barb was teaching missionary children. I was in leadership training in the Kekchi Mennonite Church there. And the Lord redirected us back into pastoral ministry in Pennsylvania, New Jersey. And then the Lord reminded us of our missionary call through the church, through leadership there. Our previous director, John Brubaker, our senior pastor, also affirmed that this is what the Lord had been preparing us for. And our children said they were open to whatever the Lord had. I think homeschooling was a help, that there wasn't too much peer dependency there.
Barb, you had already been homeschooling.
Yes.
And that's your background.
But tell her about your prayer when we were first considering Malawi.
Well, one of the Sunday school electives at our church that summer was to sing the musical, Please Don't Send Me to Africa.
Oh.
And that's how I was feeling. I was not real interested in going to Africa.
Family was larger, parents were older, Africa far away. But a year later, the Lord brought it back to the forefront of our thinking, and Barb had peace about that. I really think that when we pray, we really invite the Lord to change our prayers. Even Jesus was an example of that when he said, Father, not what I want, but what you want. And so we were prepared for whatever the Lord had. And our theme verse that year before we went out was 1 Corinthians 2:9. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has mind conceived what God has prepared for those who love him. Not that we knew ahead of time that we would be in Malawi, but it was more than what we would have ever dreamed.
And tell us what part of Malawi, one of the really hot parts.
Malawi is the warm heart of Africa, not only because of the heat, but because of the friendliness. But we're in the warm heart of the warm heart.
Yeah.
Or one of the warm hearts. We're in Mangochi, just the southern tip of Lake Malawi.
We were sharing this before, I was in Bangula, and you know about the heat in Bangula. I mean, this is a terrible thing to say, but I said, God could not call me to Bangula. It's just, I mean, you sweat in the shower. That's how hot it is there, right around the clock. And you said, you're not quite as hot as that, but it's really hot.
It's warm.
But you were happy with this new world And the children seem to fit in, and
Very much. We were preceded by other missionaries that had blazed the trail and helped to establish trust in the rural areas there. There was a very supportive and encouraging missionary community of different nationalities and backgrounds, Germans, Australians, South Africans, Americans, and Nigerian colleagues as well, missionary colleagues. And it really became home.
now September 15th, 2001, a date that you don't have to think about, Barb. Right after 9/11.
Yes, 4 days after.
Oh, you typically rode your bicycle 3 times a week?
Yes.
Now, did you typically go across the bridge that I'm going to show right now?
Yes, that
This-
was part of our route.
That was a regular route.
Yes. We didn't always ride our bikes across the bridge. Sometimes we would stop and get off and walk our bikes.
Now,
across.
there's quite a little space in the middle of that bridge. Did you just avoid that?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And it really was in disrepair.
It
It's
was.
an understatement.
It might have been a little better conditioned than in that photo. That was a
Really?
little bit later, yeah.
What happened?
Well, the last thing that I remember is that I felt, just as I was going across, I felt I'm losing my balance. And then I didn't remember I didn't know anything after that.
What was that fall?
I fell probably 18 feet down into a dry stream bed. It was the dry season. I landed on a rock on my back, and 2 vertebrae were crushed, T7 and T8, resulting in paralysis from about here down.
You don't remember much
No,
of the...
no, I don't remember anything.
But there was a
I don't
lot of
remember falling.
pain.
I don't remember being carried out. A few things came back to me. I was in and out of consciousness when they took me back to the house where we lived. And then on the way to the government hospital in town, I came to a little bit, but not a whole lot.
Doug, you were far away. You weren't on the scene at all.
I was visiting a village about 4-hour drive away. I had left early that morning, and the accident happened in the morning, so I didn't find out about it until later that evening. I had a cell phone, but we were out of cell phone coverage.
You actually did talk to Barb on the phone before you were able to see her.
Yes.
And surprisingly, talking to Barb gave you a sense of peace
Absolutely.
in the storm.
Absolutely.
Describe that to me.
Well, I spoke to her about 9 p.m. The accident happened about 12 hours before that, and I was in a friend's home, a missionary home, and I spoke to her. She was in the hospital, and something about her spirit, that she was at peace, gave me peace, even though I didn't know all the ramifications.
Really,
but,
how she was doing.
That was a real encouragement that she was, in her spirit, she was okay.
Your son was on the scene, one of your sons,
Yes.
Stephen? And
He
I-
wasn't there when I fell. It was only Sarah who was there when I fell.
But he accompanied you, didn't
He
he?
accompanied me, yes, in the truck that took us to town, to the hospital in town.
Pretty troubled by
And-
the pain you were in.
Yes, I guess he was, but God enabled him to sing to me. I don't remember what it was. Do you
The
know?
songs that he sang?
Yeah, what he sang.
I don't remember.
But I was told, I don't really remember it, but that he sang on our way to the hospital.
How long was it, Barb, before you knew the prognosis, the outcome of this fall?
I guess I knew when we got to the city. I don't really remember exactly. I do remember when we were in South Africa in the hospital where I had surgery, that they would tell us sometime whether it would be permanent or whether there would be a possibility of recovering feeling and movement to the lower part of my body.